what if our obsession with celebrity, like the whole influencer thing, what if that went way beyond just entertainment? Like, imagine if we treated geniuses in every field that same way, more caught up in their image than what they actually do.
You're talking about valuing the persona over the actual achievement.
Exactly. And that's the kind of thought experiment we're diving into today.
With this essay.
Yeah, it's called Huesos y Mitos.
Look, it means
Bones and Myths. Catchy, right? A little ominous even. And it's by someone named Rthoff, or maybe Kavhanna. We'll get back to that little mystery later.
Okay, so got to keep that in mind.
Definitely. But for now, just remember, we're looking at one person's argument here.
And it's a pretty provocative one
Well,
at that.
no kidding. It starts off by saying, we humans, we have a really messed up relationship with actual genius.
Like, we can't recognize it when it's right in front of us.
Well, it's more like, the essay says we claim to revere brilliance, but often only after someone's gone.
Ah, so it's the whole gone too soon thing.
Exactly. Think Van Gogh. Struggling artist, can barely afford paint, let alone food. Dies basically unknown. Years later, bam, most expensive paintings ever sold. His stuff's in every major museum.
It's like we need that historical distance to appreciate genius fully.
Right. As if while someone's alive, it's two in our faces. And the essay says this isn't just some quirk. It's a symptom of what this author calls artificial identity proliferation.
Okay, so way more than just picking a cool Instagram handle.
Oh, more. Think deeper. It's like this inherent need we all have to feel important, significant. So we latch on to labels, achievements, online personas, the whole 9 yards, and we project that need onto others.
And that need, it ties into the next big, and let's be honest, kind of uncomfortable idea in the essay, right? Collective narcissism.
So all of humanity is basically one giant narcissist.
Well, the essay uses Jesus as a prime example. This one figure becoming this larger-than-life ideal, almost eclipsing everyone else from that time.
Oh, I see where you're going with this. So it's not just a religious thing. You could say the same about, like, Elon Musk, right? He's the genius innovator, not the teams of engineers. We turn these figures into myths.
Exactly. And that feeds into this whole idea of paper microgels, which, I'll admit, is a term I had to sit with for a bit.
Yeah, not exactly something you throw around in casual conversation. So break it down. Paper microgels, what are they and why should we care?
Okay, so the essay argues that these idolized figures, these paper microgels, they become distractions, like shiny, attention-grabbing surfaces that keep us from noticing the people who are actually doing the hard work, pushing boundaries right now.
So it's not that those historical figures don't matter. It's that we're so busy staring at them, we miss what's happening right in front of us.
Right. And this is where the essay takes, I think, a darker turn. It links this societal mistreatment of genius, the way we ignore it while it's happening, to the dark triad of personality disorders.
Wait, hold on. You're saying, like, narcissism, Machiavellianism, all that, playing out on a mass scale. How does a whole society DO that?
Well, think about it. The constant need for validation, for control, the tendency to exploit others, that lack of empathy, these aren't just individual traits, right? The essay argues we see echoes of this in how we, as a whole, treat our geniuses.
That's a pretty disturbing thought.
It is.
And of course, we can't talk about societal problems without bringing economics into it.
Yeah.
Which brings us to the essay's idea of the parasitism of capital.
Right. This is where the essay really digs into the mechanics, like how are our systems actually designed? And the argument is that they're often set up to extract value from true innovation, but without fairly rewarding the source of that innovation.
It's like that old saying, what is it? Behind every great fortune, there's a great crime.
Except here, it's more like behind every great fortune, there's an exploited genius.
Exactly. And this essay uses Tesla and Edison as like the classic example.
Oh, absolutely. Edison, the savvy businessman, ends up profiting from Tesla's incredible but totally underappreciated genius.
Which leads to the big question. If this essay's right, if we are this blind to real brilliance while propping up all these paper microgels, what kind of world are we even building? What happens next? Okay, buckle up, because this is where things take a turn for the interesting, to say the least. Remember how that essay we're deep diving into, it's by this Rthoff, or maybe Kavhanna?
Yeah, the author with the mysterious name.
Right. So get this. Our little internet sleuthing turned up not one, but 2 websites that might just belong to this person.
And that's where our deep dive takes this sharp turn, from philosophical critique to, well, we're not entirely sure what yet.
It's like The essay itself threw down this challenge, and now we're staring right at whoever might have picked it up.
I like it. It's getting intriguing.
Right. So first website, super sleek, all minimalist design, very high finance vibes. It's called Cafe.
Cafe. Got it. And what's it about?
Well, that's the thing. It's kind of vague. Lots of talk about managing artistic assets, mentions things like encryption securities, even a KIF bank that's supposedly launching soon.
Artistic assets, KIF bank. That language is really interesting given what the essay was arguing about.
Right. It practically screams parasitism of capital, doesn't it? Like, are they taking those brilliant but undervalued minds the essay talked about and turning them into, like, commodities?
Could be. But at the same time, it's incredibly vague. Just hinting at this air of exclusivity, maximizing value for select clients.
Totally. Like, are they playing into that whole mystique thing on purpose? Because that feeds right back into the artificial identity proliferation idea too, right? The more mysterious and exclusive, the more we project onto it.
Exactly. And just when you think it can't get any weirder, there's the second website. This one's more like a bio page.
Yeah.
All about a certain Kavhanna.
And this is where we go from intriguing to, honestly, kind of outlandish, this profile. It's like someone took every impressive-sounding accomplishment imaginable and just crammed it all into a single page.
So not exactly humble bragging, then.
Not even close. It's more like, hold my beret, I'm about to drop a symphony of genius on you. Claims Kavhanna is a polymath involved in everything from art and finance.
To tech, to philosophy. I bet they're also a brain surgeon in their spare time.
It wouldn't surprise me. And the name-dropping. Da Vinci, Picasso, Tesla. It's all there.
Oh, wow. They are really going for it.
Right. And part of me wants to laugh, but it's also kind of unsettling, you know? Which brings us to the million-dollar question. Is this Kavhanna the real deal? Like a legit polymath? Someone so far ahead of the curve, our systems don't even know how to handle them? Or is this the very definition of a paper microgel? Someone meticulously crafting this image of genius to distract from, a lack of actual substance.
Well, that whole air of exclusivity around Confiro. What if that's not just about attracting investors? What if it's about controlling the narrative around these so-called geniuses?
So they're the ones deciding who is and isn't a genius.
Potentially. Instead of just supporting brilliance, maybe they're packaging it, controlling access to it. It all gets very meta, very fast.
Right, and that's what makes this whole deep dive so fascinating. We've gone from dissecting a critique of how we value genius to maybe, possibly, staring at the online presence of someone who embodies both sides of that equation. The critic ain't the criticized.
The real ain't the artificial.
Exactly. So are we looking at the matrix here? Is Kavhanna the chosen one or just another program, you know?
It's like we said, right? We're not standing on the shoulders of giants anymore. We're too busy scrolling through their highlight reels.
And getting blinded by the glare, yeah. This whole essay was like a warning about people like this, wasn't it? Or was it maybe Kafaf? Maybe they are doing something different. Like, what if they actually are out there supporting these geniuses, but in a way that, like, breaks the mold?
It's possible. I'd like to think so, at least. But there's that other part, right? Can't help but wonder if it's just a new coat of paint on the same old system. The people in power, they control the resources, they control access, they profit off brilliance, all while saying they're the ones elevating it.
Which takes us right back to that core tension from the essay. If we're constantly looking for that neg-XT superstar genius, that paper microgel, are we missing the quiet brilliance that's already here?
Right under our noses, even.
The people who are actually going to change things, but they're not flashy enough for the algorithm.
It's the question we're left with, isn't it? After this whole deep dive, we can't tell you whether to believe the hype about this Kavhanna or, run for the hills yelling about smoke and mirrors.
Yeah.
But hopefully we've given you some good questions to ask.
Exactly. So next time you see some self-proclaimed genius online, or maybe even in your own life, ask yourself, are they the real deal? Or are they a paper microgel, all carefully constructed to get attention, to get clicks, whatever?
And on the flip side,
right?
What if you encounter someone truly brilliant, but they're being stifled, overlooked? Because the system doesn't know how to value what they do. What then?
Man, that's the stuff that keeps me up at night. But hey, that's the beauty of a good deep dive, right? Gets those brain gears turning. And speaking of, if you want to dig deeper into this one, check out our show notes. We've got links to the essay, those websites, the whole shebang.
Who knows? Maybe you'll find the answer to the Kavhanna conundrum.
Or at least come up with some even better questions than we did. And hey, if you do, hit us up, let us know. Until next time, happy deep diving, everyone.